In 2020, because of COVID-19, traveling is out, but there's no reason you can't meet old and make new friends at an Agile conference. The Scrum Master Toolbox podcast teamed up with Tom Henriksen to organize the 4th year of the Agile Online Summit, and you can attend for free. There will be networking events, lots of talks on important topics, and 8 amazing keynotes from Mary Poppendick to Alan Holub, Jeff Patton, who's the creator of user story mapping, Neil Killick, who's a no estimates pioneer, Jeff Watts, author of Scrum Mastery, a great book for Scrum Masters, Jeff Gotthelf, Bob Galen, and our very own Marcus Hammarberg, who's the author of the Bungsu Story, a great Agile transformation story. You can get your free tickets at bit.ly/SMAOS 2020. All lowercase, all one word. Once again, bit.ly/SMAOS 2020. All lowercase, all one word, and the link is also on the show notes. You can get your free ticket or opt for the full digital access that lets you keep all the conference videos forever. And for example, organize Agile learning sessions at work by watching those videos. You can get the full digital access at bit.ly/SMAOS 2020. But don't forget, there will be lots of live networking events, so I'll see you at the conference floor. Hello everybody, welcome to our Team Tuesday this week with Arjay Hinek. Hi Arjay, welcome back.
Hey, thank you very much for having me.
So on Tuesdays we talk about teams and how sometimes they become their own worst enemies. But before jumping into that topic, we do want to know, what was the book that perhaps most influenced you in your career as a Scrum Master?
That is probably one of the hardest questions you can ask an Agilist, because there's so many books out there that can influence you in different ways. I have a couple, Leader's Guide to Radical Management by Stephen Denning. If you ever get a chance to hear him speak or just read any of his books, it's just everything he has to say, particularly in that book, can be applied not just in the Agile space, can be applied to pretty much any project you're doing. But in terms of books that actually influenced me and really changed the way I approached teams and organizations that I work with was Roman Pichler's Agile Product Management with Scrum, I think it's called. Product Management with Scrum. And Roman Pichler has just a way of saying things that kind of distills work down, distills the concepts down, and gets you very focused on delighting your customer. And I think it was back in, I guess it was probably 2010. I had some product owners who were struggling to find their footing in what they were doing. And I just started retelling some of the stories from Roman Pichler's book about delighting your customer, and particularly the concept of your customers don't want a drill, they want a 1/4 inch hole. So be thinking about ultimately how you're going to help the customer with their problem, not giving them exactly what they asked for, because they don't often know what they exactly need. And that really resonated well with a lot of those product owners. And it just kind of got me thinking, hey, I could be training product owners, not just working with developers. And I just found a lot more space to work in that area. And I found product owners just be a lot more excited to finally have a structure too, because I think teams jump into development, but product owners are sort of brought along as an afterthought. And that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, often teams or product teams are set up around the engineers that are available at that time, or maybe the engineers are themselves the ones driving the creation of the team and the product. But then you need to hire at some point a product owner, and they usually are added after the fact, right?
Yeah, exactly. I see that a lot anyway. And then if people already have a way of working as a product owner, or if they have been pushed into being on an Agile team, it can be very bad. It can probably, well, in fact, that kind of leads to one of the worst horror stories that I can think of.
All right. Maybe that's the next story you're going to tell us, because we're going to explore a story of a team and maybe try to understand a little bit the context, right?
Sure.
Big team, small team, whatever kind of project. And then let's dive into how that behavior or pattern emerged in the team that ultimately led to trouble.
Yeah, I would be. I'm gonna have to change all the names to protect the guilty, but let me go through it. So, it actually ties quite well with what I was just saying about the Roman Pichler book, because I had a product owner who he had formerly had been on an agile development team, and a very smart person, but he also uh, to this day, I don't know exactly why, but I think it was just the power of becoming a product owner. He went mad with power, and so he kind of actively sabotaged the entire agile culture, because I think secretly he never agreed with it. He'd been forced to work in it as a developer, and when he became a product owner, he just began to tear things apart. And
How
so
did
this,
he do that, though? How did that look like in practice?
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to tell you that. So there was, let me give you background on the team. It was actually a very small team, a four person development team, and they were all new. They were all very young, and they were all very excited about Agile. And I was the Scrum Master, and they were just an absolute delight to kind of do the introductions to Agile and talk them through all the different aspects of how it's supposed to work, and how they can work together as a team, and the power that they have as a group. And they were very excited. In fact, they were one of those ideal teams where no one was a superstar, but they were very invested in each other and invested in helping each other. And they had been brought in on this. It's a small project. All of this is back end work, so back end software. So they were brought in to tie in a third-party application to another existing third-party application that was legacy, that had been with the company for over a decade, and a lot of waste built into that old legacy system, and also it had been so customized that it couldn't even be upgraded. So it was this, they're sort of caught in a trap, and so the solution was, well, let's add on this other piece, this other third-party platform, and we'll see if we can make it work better. So they were working with new code, but tying it to very old code. And that sounds great, except the product owner had that nagging habit of, it's probably one of the worst traits you can have in a product owner, one of the most negative pieces anyway, is if they know the system better than the developers, they want to micromanage, or they want to get in there and work on the code, or they want to solution things before even the team gets a chance to think about things.
They want to dictate the solution, right?
Exactly. They're all about solution. They bring solutions to the team, and in this case, this person who was very smart felt he knew better than everyone. But that really wasn't the thing that was the most destructive. What was the most destructive is that he was also essentially a stakeholder yes man, and that instead of helping the customers with what their actual problem was, he always took, anytime they would bring a problem to him, he took it as a personal challenge, like a puzzle. And I mean, that's very much the engineer mindset: is here's a problem, I want to solve it. Rather than thinking about whether he should do it, it was always, yeah, we can do it. And so he would jump in with solutions, and he would just tell them yes in an excited way. He would be like, yes, I can do that. And absolutely, yeah, that's not a problem. And they can knock it out. I think I could do it in a couple of days. They'll knock it out in this sprint without ever putting it in the backlog, without prioritizing the work. It was always just yes, 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 yes. And so that was very demoralizing to the team. And then he would bring stories to the team, as I said, with solutions, and he'd just give them a list of things that they needed to do in the code base. And that's not exciting to the team. And it basically demoralized everyone on the team. And the only way I was able to ever kind of get it back on track a little bit was I would sit him down and we would talk through user stories and like what the real common practice is. And sometimes you just got to go back to basics. And it's like, let's talk through the story. Let's make sure your problem statement is clear, and let's let the team ask you questions. And so that helped for a while, but ultimately every one of those developers just left. They couldn't take the command and control approach this product owner was pushing on them. And that was, again, I wish I'd have been a little more prescriptive with him. I had some crucial conversation level, radical candor type of conversations with him, but it just never sunk in. And that's how you destroy a team and destroy a product even. So ultimately, all that work was handed off to an external third-party vendor, and I think ultimately that project was abandoned.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things that very often we forget as Scrum Masters. We are there to work with the team and help the organization adopt Agile and so on. And sometimes we don't actually need to do any work with the team, right? Like you were describing, this was like the perfect Agile team. They really wanted to learn, and it was so easy to bring, ideas to them and so on. But it sounded to me that at that time it was the PO who needed help, not the team.
Exactly. And I had fallen again into a trap of, well, this guy knows Agile really well. He was on a team that I was a Scrum Master for. He knows how this works. He's not going to break the rules and go around it and be difficult. And I took my eye off the ball on him being the ball and kept my eye on the team. But I do have to say this. The positive is I have run into a couple of the members of that team who left the company and gone other places, and they've stopped me in the street and very excited to say that I met this new company and we're on a real Scrum team, and all those things you taught me, I'm just getting to apply them, and this is just so great. You were right. It does work, and so they've fallen back in love with kind of the Agile mindset and the culture, and they found themselves in places where it does work. So that's the positive, uplifting piece of it, that it did help those individuals.
Absolutely. That's actually one of the phrases that when I hear it, I feel a little bit happy inside that I have done the right job with that person. When they come to me and they say, hey, I'm on this other company, whatever, or this other project, whatever that might be, and we're on a real Scrum team or a real Agile team. And it's like, okay, that's good. That means that you have finally found the things that you were so excited about.
Yeah, you found your forever home in the Agile space. Yeah.
At least for a while. Thanks for telling that story, Arjay.
That was absolutely my pleasure, Vasco. Thank you.
Tuesday is Team Day here on the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. But tomorrow we talk about something that goes beyond the work we do with the teams. We will talk about how to lead change and what our guests have learned from leading and participating in change programs during their career. See you tomorrow. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.